Relationships are fragile things, none more so than the relationship between a citizenry and their government. Unfortunately for the American people, the contract they entered into more than 200 years ago, the U.S. Constitution, has been reduced to little more than a marriage of convenience and fiscal duty, marked by distrust, lying, infidelity, hostility, disillusionment, paranoia, and domestic abuse. These abuses are being perpetrated by the very government officials entrusted with ensuring the citizenry's freedom and safety. Don't believe me? Just take a stroll through your city's downtown. Spend an afternoon in your local mall. Get in your car and drive to your parents' house. Catch the next flight to that business conference. While you're doing so, pay careful attention to how you and your fellow citizens are treated by government officials, the ones whose salaries you are paying. You might walk past a police officer outfitted in tactical gear, holding an assault rifle, or drive past a police cruiser scanning license plates. There might be a surveillance camera on the street corner, tracking your movements. At the airport, you may be put through your paces by government agents, who will want to either pat you down or run scans of your body. And each time you make a call or send a text message, your communications will most likely be logged and stored in a government file. When you return home, you might find that government agents have been aggressively questioning your neighbors about you as part of a census questionnaire. After you retire to sleep, you might find yourself awakened by a SWAT team crashing through your door. You'll later discover they were at the wrong address. And if you make the mistake of reaching for your eyeglasses, you might find yourself shot by a cop who felt threatened. Is this the behavior of a government that respects you? One that looks upon you as having inviolate rights? One that regards you as its employer, its master, its purpose for being? I don't think so. While this transformation of the government into a hyper-militarized, twitchy, easily offended, suspicious, locked down, paranoid, all-seeing bureaucracy is being sold to the public as an unavoidable means of preventing terrorism and maintaining national security, it is little more than a wolf in sheep's clothing. In fact, what we are dealing with is a police state disguised as a benevolent democracy, a runaway government hyped up on its own power and afraid of its citizenry, whose policies are dictated more by paranoia, power, and control than need. When one considers the growing list of opinions and activities which may make a federal agent or local police officer think you're a terrorist, or sympathetic to terrorist activities, advocating states' rights, believing the state to be unnecessary or undesirable, conspiracy theorizing, concern about alleged FEMA camps, opposition to war, organizing for economic justice, frustration with mainstream ideologies, opposition to globalization, and, ironically, ammunition stockpiling, the picture becomes that much more alarming. By the time you throw into the mix a variety of military police training exercises that are occurring across the country, ostensibly to train first responders to deal with emergency situations and social unrest, but overtly targeting American citizens, then it becomes that much harder to answer no when asked to consider whether we, the people, have become the enemies of our own government. Why is this happening? When did we as a nation take such a wrong turn onto such treacherous terrain? Who or what is responsible for our steady slide into tyranny? Where do we go from here? And what, if anything, can we do about it? Here's the problem as I see it. We, the people, have become so trusting, so gullible, so easily distracted, so out of touch, and so sure that our government will always do the right thing by us, that we have ignored the warning signs all around us. In so doing, we have failed to recognize them as potential red flags, to use as opportunities to ask questions, demand answers, and hold our government officials accountable to respecting our rights and abiding by the rule of law. Unfortunately, once a free people allows the government to make inroads into their freedoms, or uses those same freedoms as bargaining chips for security, it quickly becomes a slippery slope to outright tyranny. And it doesn't really matter whether it's a Democrat or a Republican at the helm, because the bureaucratic mindset on both sides of the aisle now seems to embody the same philosophy of authoritarian government. It doesn't take a weatherman to realize when a storm is brewing. Clouds gather, the winds begin to blow, and trees bend as their leaves are violently tossed in the air. It's the same way with freedom. The warning signs are everywhere. They're staring us in the face. Sadly, most seem unaware of this, or they are all too content to attend to the daily grind and bow before the great pacifier, otherwise known as television, or stare endlessly into their cell phones, laptops, and other electronic distraction gadgets.